In this breaking story, I have an update on whether the New York Attorney General is going to continue with her nearly $500 million fraud case against Donald Trump or give him another win by dropping it. Please stick around as I break it down. By virtue of winning the election, Trump is now shielded from the legal cases that emerged as a result of his first presidency, and that relieves him of some very big potential consequences. But the judgment against him and his company and several top executives in New York, the judgment that has now swelled to over $497 million while on appeal, continues. Or does it? In this report from NBC, you'll get a quick summary of his legal cases, and you'll hear the argument that his lawyers made while asking for the New York case to be dropped. It's an argument that is so crazy it makes the NBC commentator laugh out loud. And then I'll share today's bombshell reply from the New York Attorney General.
Since Donald Trump became president-elect, his litany of criminal cases has slowly disappeared. Sentencing in his hush money case in Manhattan, where a jury found him guilty of 34 felony counts, is now indefinitely postponed. The pending federal cases against Trump for his alleged mishandling of classified documents and attempts to overturn the 2020 election have now ended. Earlier this week, special counsel Jack Smith filed motions to drop all 44 federal criminal counts in those cases, citing the Justice Department's position that a sitting president cannot be charged. And now, Trump's lawyer is demanding that New York Attorney General Leticia James drop her case against Trump, too. Attorney General James successfully prosecuted Trump for civil fraud. In February, a judge found him liable for manipulating his net worth to defraud banks and insurers. He now owes the state of New York more than $450 million in damages. That judgment is currently being appealed. But in a letter to Attorney General James, Trump's lawyer argues, quote, President Trump has called for our nation's partisan strife to end and for the contending factions to join forces for the greater good of the country. This call for unity extends to the legal onslaught against him and his family that permeated the most recent election cycle. Joining me now is Christy Greenberg, former federal prosecutor who served for over a decade in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. Christy, good to see you. Thank you for being here for the good of the country. What do you make of that?
I mean, it's so absurd, right? I mean, the idea that, this whole letter, it's 4 pages and it's a history lesson. He's citing Abraham Lincoln and the Thanksgiving Proclamation and George Washington, all about this call for unity, when all Donald Trump is called for is a call for retribution against the people who investigated him, against the prosecutors who prosecuted his cases. He's called the Democrats the enemy from within. And then this very lawyer who drafted this letter is the one who got up before the Supreme Court and said Donald Trump has the power to order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate his political rivals. Like this is not about a call for unity. I mean, it is laughable. This is not a serious legal argument. Nothing in here is a serious legal argument. It's more political rhetoric that's really, as Judge Chutkan has said about Trump's lawyers, unbefitting of experienced defense counsel.
And yet, I said it was crazy. I guess if you sign on to be Trump's lawyer, there is no limit to the bending of logic and the departure from reality that you'll go to. And here is Leticia James's response that reminds Trump and his defense team that the case is about Trump's corruption as a private citizen and his efforts as a great uniter of our nation is irrelevant.
Our New York Attorney General Leticia James' office just announced it will not toss out its $470 million civil fraud judgment against President-elect Donald Trump. Joining us now with more is MSNBC's Lisa Rubin. Lisa, good morning. What does this mean?
Good morning, Jose. President Trump's lawyers are trying to get the New York Attorney General to set aside that case. But as they said in their letter today, they're refusing to do so because that case, which was a civil litigation, is primarily and almost exclusively about his pre-presidential conduct and running the Trump Organization. And as they say in their letter, there are over a dozen other defendants who are part of that $450 million plus civil fraud judgment. I want to point out also that this is part of their strategy to sort of extend the presidential immunity argument from the opinion over the weekend. You can see them do that with the New York DA's office as well. That office's brief in response to a motion to dismiss the New York hush money case, where there is also a verdict, is expected later today. We should expect to see them also fight back against the idea that the judgment has to be thrown out merely because Trump is going to be president again.
I feel very qualified to speak for the millions of anti-Trumpers who are desperate to get a win after watching him continually slide like a snake on a frozen lake. With the same enthusiasm that he likes to say drill baby drill, I like to say make him pay baby, make him pay. This case represents so much more than the damages that are in limbo. This case is about holding Trump accountable for something and showing that our democracy can prevail against a billionaire with a legal army and a war chest. And it's about karma. Energetically, we need the scale to tip back towards center before it topples over from the weight of Trump's wins against prosecution. But wait, there's more to the story. Not only is Leticia James facing down Trump's legion of lawyers in this case, but one day she may have to face his wrath of retribution, and I'll leave you with her fearless words about that.
And he said that he would support plans to prosecute you for election interference. Are you worried about any of that?
So I'm of the opinion that faith and fear don't share the same space. I'm not fearful of Donald Trump. I've never been fearful of Donald Trump. It's unfortunate that Donald Trump would engage in these comments. At this point in time, as you know, the case is on appeal, and we are looking forward to the decision of the appellate division.